Jimmy Garoppolo just signed with the Rams. This is serious. Jimmy Garoppolo just signed with the Rams. And you know why they signed him? Because he always beat him. Right there. You know that's why they did it. From their perspective, like, dang, we couldn't beat this guy at all. If he goes to another team, we might lose. So now they got a guy who would be like the Rams killer on their team. And if Stafford misses time, which he does sometimes, there's a possibility the Niners could face Garoppolo once, maybe even twice this year. And I'm here for it.
I'm pretty sure when 2021 was it or two, when we were talking about he was getting a cut when it was obvious. Like, you named the Rams as like a nice like spot. And that stuck to my head. And so that stuck to my head. And look, sure enough, 2 years later, I mean, he's suspended for the first 2 regular season games, but who gives a damn about that? He's the backup, right? I'm shocked. Honestly, I'm still shocked he has suitors. He was so bad last year, but hey, look where he's going to. McVay, another Kyle Shanahan type of guy. What kind of offense gets the most out of him? Actually makes him somewhat competent. The similar offense. There's no way in hell it was going to work like away from this system. So Jimmy makes sense. McVay doing that is they chose Jimmy Garoppolo over Carson Wentz.
That's incredible. It's incredible. And it's like, does this have something to do with what teams think of the draft class at quarterback? Because it seems like teams are all kind of making moves for these backup quarterbacks, like Kenny Pickett's in Philly, Ritter's in Arizona, Locke's on the Giants, Sam Howell's with the Seahawks, Flacco's on the Colts, Mac Jones with the Jaguars, Jimmy's now with the Rams, Tyrod Taylor's in the Jets, Rudolph's in Tennessee. You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, teams seem to be investing in the free agent market, and not. Is that because it's a bad class of quarterbacks? I don't know. But what I do know is that Jimmy Garoppolo is back in the NFC West, baby. And you guys all talked all this crap about Jimmy for so long. and football karma is that he's going to be starting for the Rams by week 2 or week 3. And he's going to win the division. And he's going to win the Super Bowl. And you guys are going to have to live with that. And I'm going to be here and be like, I always believed in him. Me. Always said nice things about Jimmy. Now that he's on the Rams, I think he's a really good quarterback.
Cue the Rick James, Dave Chappelle skit. But honestly, I'm praying on it that like Stafford like hurts his finger again. It's like, oh wow, out 1 week, and guess who he's playing? Week 7, 49ers. God, I want that so. That's gonna be so funny. I need to.
You hope that Matthew Stafford hurts his finger. You're canceled. You can't wish that on people.
Finger injuries on his own anyways. Relax. Breaks his fingernail. Whatever. He's gonna break his fingernail one day. He's gonna sit out a week, and he's gonna. God, I need to see that. The drama in me is like already like feasting on it. It's just so funny. I'm waiting, and I hope it's in Levi Stadium too. That's gonna be crazy.
I think it's funny how much Kyle and Jimmy seem to not like each other, and how Kyle seems to act like Jimmy doesn't want to be coached and isn't really professional. And then Sean McVay comes in and he's like, well, let me give this a shot. You know, I mean, it's interesting because Kyle's so negative and he likes to keep it real. And some people like it, some people don't. McVay's not like that at all. He seems like he's very upbeat. And maybe he'd be a better coach for Jimmy Garoppolo than Kyle was. It's a similar system.
I think it would be too. But honestly, like when you named all those teams that are going after backup quarterbacks, there's a trend with all of them. It's number one, a lot of the starting quarterbacks that they're looking for backups kind of have an injury history. Mm-hmm. And then number 2, it's like, we're not necessarily sold on this guy, so we need a contingency. Like all those teams, it kind of feels like there's all contingency. Like Eagles, like, okay, we're sold on him, but he can get hurt. So in comes Pickett. Commanders, we need this guy because we don't have a quarterback answer. Rams, Matthew Stafford, just literally go out at any moment. That's why they're beefing up the offensive line to avoid that. So they don't end up signing a Carson Wentz like by week 5. Because I remember, who the hell did they start? The Rams started some nobody, forget his name already. He started 1 week. I think it was against the Cowboys. And oh my God, that was awful. And he wants to avoid that. So why not get someone that you can start in there? Because a lot of these quarterbacks can go at any moment. The ones that actually have the history.
Jimmy Garoppolo went from being a franchise quarterback to a stopgap starter for the Raiders to a backup not even competing to start for the Rams. How did he end up here? Why he didn't want to go? I mean, I guess there has to be a market for him, but like Minnesota has Sam Darnold. The best he could do is back up Stafford. So what's in it for Jimmy? Is this going to be? Is he going to be like the heir apparent to Stafford, the way he almost was the heir apparent to Brady, or is he just going to revive his value a little bit by being around McVay, or is he going to become a male model on the side? He's in LA.
Oh, I think
he could become a crossover success.
I think he got released after the Vikings signed Darnold, but yeah, I think honestly he's glorified backup quarterback. I'm still shocked that someone signed him. He was so god awful. He was awful. Then it was Desmond Ridder. Who else was god awful last year? Derek Carr for most of the season was those were like the bottom 3 quarterbacks off the top of my head that I was like, holy crap, you could not pay me to watch these guys. I'm so happy I do not cover this team, because every day my articles would be about like, oh my God, this guy sucks. Oh my God, this guy sucks. Like, what can you do to stop making him play? Like, it was literally the bottom 3 quarterbacks, and Zach Wilson, obviously, but hell, I thought Wilson was better than Jimmy last year, and that's not saying much either, but God.
He's only 32 years old. I mean, he's not like old. He's just got exposed. He talked all that crap about Kyle's plays, which might be overrated, sure. But what about you, Jimmy? Look at you now. Well, we'll see what McVay can do with you. If McVay can turn Jimmy Garoppolo's career around, that would be quite an accomplishment.
I'm just shocked that he literally said we had Wentz for half the season and we're just going to go with Jimmy. I'd
rather have Wentz.
I would rather have Wentz
too. Weird. Wentz must be weird. People just don't like him, and I don't get it, because he essentially is like a 500 quarterback in the NFL.